my nerves going. You need to get close, I'll say that. That's one big chunk of pure meat. Rightio boys, it's been a while, haven't been able to do as much hunting as I would have liked. Today I just want to have a chill hunt, a fun hunt. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, so we're going to go out, going to see if we can get onto some pigs, and if we can find a young buffalo, youngish buffalo in the first half of the day, he'll be in strife because I would like some meat for the freezer. And I'm very excited to say, finally, that by the time you see this video, Vision Broadheads will officially be live. The website will be live. It'll be officially launched after years of me putting my heart and soul into it. The people close to me know what I've had to sacrifice to do that. So help me out, go check out the website, let me know what you think. But that's enough rambling, let's get into hunting. Bloody hell, that got the heart rate going. I'm just slowly working my way along and I just see the shape of horns down low in the grass. It turns out there was a bull just ahead of me, bedded down. He obviously heard something coming, so he stood up, and as you just saw, these buffalo, it's one of the biggest things that's different between hunting buffalo and other animals like deer and pigs and that. The buffalo aren't necessarily scared of you, especially the bulls. And a lot of the time they're, especially young bulls who don't know any better, quite curious. And yeah, it can be intimidating because they try and nearly circle you, and what they're doing, what he was just trying to do was get my wind, because he could see me but he had no idea what it was. So then what they do is they try and work their way around till they can get your wind. And he knew exactly what way the wind was going. He walked straight over to where the wind was heading. And even then, I don't know whether he just hasn't smelt me yet, but he's still not that concerned. And I feel like a buffalo like that may never have seen people before. He's a bit old. He's a young bull, so it's not the best for eating. If he was a very young bull, then that's fine for eating, but he's sort of, I don't know, sub-adult, whatever you want to call it. We'll keep going. Oh, they're some of the worst types of stalks, where the animals are feeding away from you, and it just feels like it's a never-ending battle. You're trying to catch up. I'd nearly get into range. I'd set the camera up. I think the closest I got was about 49. Just didn't work out. And of course, when you're trying to chase them like that, and you got the sun shining straight on you, all it takes is the slightest glimpse, and then once they catch that little glimpse, they won't stop looking. Oh well, we'll go back, grab the pack, and keep trying. In terms of food when I'm hunting, pretty much always bring the same thing. 2 cans of spaghetti, and my most essential thing is a packet of sour worms. I don't go hunting without these. The sour worms they get you through towards the end of the day when you're really buggered and you really can't be bothered anymore. They get your motivation back up. And I'll usually bring about 4 or 5 litres of water as well. Bloody hell. How was that? God, it gets my nerves going stalking in on buffalo that are bedded during the day, because you often have to get so close as I did just then. I got into 26, put the arrow right on the mark, but it's always hard when they're bedded down. They can be very deceiving, you know, their body might be canted or whatnot, so I always like to get nice and close if I'm going to take a shot like that. But as you've seen, the arrow buried right down to the fletchings. I'm guessing the arrow would have hit the dirt on the opposite side. We'll walk over there now and have a look at her. Perfect young buffalo, perfect for eating. So this tree just behind me, right there was where the shot was. So I'll keep the camera rolling. I'll show you how far she went. I would say no more than 30 yards. There we go. Now I'm very happy with that shot because, like I said, taking shots on animals that are bedded down, you need to get close, I'll say that. It can be very deceiving, but this, perfectly in the center of the shoulder and perfectly center mass. That's the 200 grain iron hide. And I'm sure we'll be able to find the arrow between here and there somewhere. Rightio guys, so the first thing I like to do while the animal is sort of laying up like this, after I've taken photos or whatever, the first thing I'll do is take the back straps because it's nice and easy while the animal's laying up like this. So what we're going to do, make a big cut through the skin all the way along the spine. I like to use two knives. I like to use one knife for cutting through the skin and then another sharper knife for all the meat, because cutting through the skin really dulls a knife. So that's it, nice and simple, straight along the spine. And then I like to sort of cut down the sides so that this skin can easily just flap down out of the way. I'll show you what I mean. So I cut down each side a bit, and then now you just work that skin off. And because I've made this cut here, the skin will just hang off and it'll stay out of your way. We can do the same on the other side. What you can do the same at the back, cut down the sides a bit so that the skin stays out of your way. Just like that. Now we've opened up where the back straps are, which are right along the spine, each side of the spine. So there's two back straps. So now what we're going to do to get the back straps off, we're going to do one side at a time. And we're just going to be working our knife along the spine, and you can feel the spine as you're going along, and you press your knife up against the spine, and that's how you stay in the right spot. And then you're just going along and just working that meat off the spine. Running your knife along the bone. If you just run your knife along the bone, you can't go wrong. And you'll feel when you hit the bottom, because there'll be more bone down there. And then what you do, you begin working the back strap off. So you make a cut to the side here, same thing, just following the bone. I'm right back at the pelvis here, so I'll come across, and then it's just a matter just carefully working it off the bone until you've got enough to really hang on to. And then it's a bit easier. And you see, once you got enough to hold on to, you can you just pull it, and then you're just working it off with your knife. That's quite easy. Now up the front here, it'll start to go under the shoulder blade. That's the shoulder blade there. So what I've always done is just get under there, work it off as far up as you can. Get up in there as far as you can reach, and then you're just severing it off. I'll give you a better look here, guys. This is that back strap we just cut out. You can see these are the ribs running along here, and they're obviously really hard. This is the spine running along here. This is all bone. So as you're running your knife down here, you're pressing against that spine, and you'll know how deep to go because you'll be able to feel the ribs. And then you cut all the way back, and then you essentially are just working the knife along, lifting and cutting the back strap away from the ribs right up. So here we have one lovely big back strap. Beautiful red meat from a young animal like this, nice and tender. When the animal's young, it's had much less time to develop illnesses or get infections. So by taking a young animal for meat, no matter what animal it is, you're going to be getting the highest quality meat you can. Now we're going to go and do the exact same thing to the other side. I won't film that because it'll take too long to film, and then we'll get started on the legs. Alright, so first step, like I just did, you want to roll the buffalo into its side at this point. Get your knife out that you were using earlier to cut through the skin. Essentially what you want to do is, you're going to be making a cut right along here, and then up the inside as well. And you just make an incision. Buffalo skin is very tough. It won't be this tough with deer or anything like that. I'm holding my knife on a very shallow angle so that I'm not stabbing down into where the intestines are. Righto, now that we've made that cut following the contour of the back leg just through the skin, I just wanted to say, with the meat that you do cut off, the back straps for example, I really recommend getting it straight into a bag as soon as possible. It is good to air the meat out if there's no flies around, but I'm not going to recommend it because nearly always there's going to be flies. And it only takes one, especially a blowfly, and it can ruin all the meat. So I recommend getting it straight into a pillowcase preferably. Can use garbage bags. There is specific game bags which are essentially just cotton material, I believe. But that cotton allows the meat to breathe, and it allows the heat to dissipate. And that's the goal. If you can cool the meat down as quick as possible, that's the goal. But yes, I will say that, be very careful of flies. Right, the next step, we're going to cut this a little bit further, but we're going to lift the leg up and then continue cutting around. Right, so now we're going to lift the leg up. You may have to put your body weight into it, although this is a buffalo, remember, it won't be this hard with goats or deer or anything. You want to continue cutting the skin down here. Again, you're just following the contour of this back leg. You can see this is all stomach, and you can see the leg comes down here. Don't mind his balls. Now once you're up in here, this is all just that same fibre stuff that holds the skin against the flesh. So you can cut this away very easily. as I'm doing just here. Come up over this part. Same thing, you'll find it's this just fibrous stuff. I don't know what it's actually called. Someone let me know in the comments. You'll feel the leg starting to come away as you do this. See, that's all that fibrous stuff. It goes way back. And it's not until this point that you'll start actually cutting the meat, and it will get quite bloody because there's some big arteries and legs. I may fast forward this, but all you're doing, the same thing. It's self-explanatory when you're actually doing it. You're gonna have to trust me on that. You're just working, you're holding pressure against the leg and you're just working the meat off, and you'll feel the leg coming off because you're holding pressure against it. And we'll do that until we get to the ball and socket joint, and then I'll show you what to do there. You do just want to be careful not to go into this area. This is all intestines and there's a lot, so you do not want to puncture that. Alright, so I've found the ball and socket joint. I hope you can see this on the video. That's me tapping it just there. So as I'm pulling the leg this way, that ball's wanting to come out of the socket. You can get your knife in there and cut the tendons that it's holding it, and it will just come away. And then you just continue working the meat away. There we go. Do you hear that? It takes no effort, you just get your knife in there and that ball will pop out. Now I'm pushing pressure down on the leg and I'm just working the meat off. Quite simple, nothing to worry about. And now, at this point, because we left the skin on the other side, the goal is this leg's going to come off and it's going to be laying on the ground, but the skin's still going to be on it, so it'll be protected from the ground. Now we keep just working this meat away. So this is one back leg. I'd say it's about 40 kilos, if I had to guess. But you can see the skin is still on the back side, so that when it's laid down on the ground like that, the meat's protected. And now what we'll do, because I'm backpack hunting and I'm a long way from the car, I obviously can't carry two legs like that. A lot of that weight is like skin and bone, because you know, buffalo bones are big and heavy. So the next step, I'll bring it over into the shade and then we'll pretty much debone it here, and essentially all I'm doing is cutting big slabs of that meat off, cutting it away from the bone, and then that's what I'll put into the cotton bags or the pillowcases I've got in this case, and that way you can carry a lot more meat out and you're not carrying as much weight, or not as much wasted weight. So I'll show you that. There you go guys, bit of grass on the meat, not worried about it. We'll cut the skin away a bit more. Now in terms of how to cut this meat off, I'm sure there's people who know a lot more about butchering than I do, but I like to just keep the big muscle groups together, but I don't stress because I know that all this meat is pretty much going to get diced up anyway, so it's not like I'm making steaks with it or anything like that, so it really doesn't matter. You can tell the different muscle groups because see, I'm cutting this away and you can see how it's white here. That's another layer of like sinew. So that's what separates the different muscle groups. Like that. And that's all we're doing. You can see that's one big chunk of pure meat. We'll show you, see I'm using pillowcases. Get it straight in there because now a few flies are starting to come about. So we've got the other back straps in a pillowcase already, and that's it. And because these aren't airtight, the meat can dissipate its heat, but it keeps the flies off. So pillowcases are good. This is one of those weird shaped pillowcases, but it doesn't matter, just get the cheapest ones you can. Another thing I like to do is start following the bone. You can just feel it with your hands. You can feel where the bone goes. It goes this way, and then it goes this way. So I'll start cutting down to that bone, and then just running my knife along it. And just like before, just working the meat away from the bone. Alrighty, here we go. Coming out bloody heavy, but we love it. Gonna have full freezers at home. I know that video demonstration of field dressing might not have been the best. Quite difficult to film by yourself, but I hope that gives you new hunters especially, I hope it gives you a bit of an understanding, enough to have the confidence to go out and just start hunting. And you know, once you get out there and you do it a couple times, you'll be all over it. So that's my recommendation, just go before you're ready. I'm pretty much completely self-taught. I used to solo bow hunt even as a kid. It's awesome. You know, I don't see many people doing it, but I recommend if you're interested in hunting but you have no one to go with, just go anyway. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully YouTube doesn't take this video down, but anyway, catch us in the next one.